TGC Requiem here. Doing something a little different today. Normally I'm flipping around playing with a bunch of different deck lists and um, showing off Modern mostly, sometimes a little bit of Legacy. But today what I thought I'd do is I've actually been home this past week, and so I played quite a bit of Modern leagues, quite a few Modern leagues this week. Um, and I usually open my treasure chests, as soon as I get them. And so I actually decided, since I was going to be home for a while, um, that maybe I'd wait till I got like 20 treasure chests and then I'd do a video. And so I hit 20 treasure chests and thought, hey, maybe I'll do a video of me opening them and people can see kind of what that's all about if they don't already know. Um, Hopefully it'll be fun and we'll get some cool stuff, and it'll allow me to put some other decks together to play a variety of decks. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to track all the cards that I get um, in each of the chests, and then what we'll do at the end is take a peek at the total value that I got, the average value of a treasure chest right now is 2.6 2.6 tickets, and if we're opening 20 treasure chests, then I know we're somewhere in the 50 range, but 20 times 2.6, so we should be looking to hopefully hit at least 52 tickets worth of value um, out of these packs as we open them. So hopefully this is something you enjoy. Let me know if it is or isn't. I think maybe what I plan to do is, maybe every 20 treasure chests or so, or maybe if this goes too long, we'll do it, less frequently or in different manners. But we're gonna go ahead and open one, see what we get. Hopefully we hit something big. So it looks like we have a Glen Elendra Liege, something they always consider playing for what's the deck, fairies, and it's just you never quite find a place to put it in there. Voltaic Brawler, I doubt it's worth much from Kaladesh. Uncommon though, so could be worth a little bit more, but I doubt it. And Rolling Thunder, yeah, it doesn't look like any of these cards are particularly worth very much. Looks like we got like 6 cents on Glen Elendra, and that's the 0.06 tickets. So they're not all going to be winners. Let's go ahead and jump into the second. Thoughts of Ruin. I've never even heard of this card. I wasn't playing back in Kamigawa days. Each player sacrifices a land for each card in your hand. What am I trying to do here? Let's make these a little bit bigger. So, Thoughts of Ruin. Distemper the Blood. I can tell you that's not worth anything. And Druid of the Cowl. And sometimes I'm marking down these commons and uncommons because the way that the treasure chests are done, there's curated cards, and so sometimes the commons or uncommons actually are worth something. The new stuff isn't going to be, but some of the older commons or uncommons may have only been printed as a part of like Vintage Masters, for example, and the original set wasn't on MTGO, and so it may still be worth something. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next one. Celestial Ancient. Looks like Dissension, I think. Definitely not worth anything. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Yeah, I can't imagine why that's not worth anything. Grip of Desolation and Dispel from Battle for Zendikar. Maybe if it was the old World Wake foils. Alright, so far 3 and nothing of value. That's alright though. We're optimistic. Only takes 1 Rishadan port. Ooh, 80 play points. So, you know, let me jot that down because I'm not going to be able to track that otherwise. 80 play points is worth essentially 8 tickets, so that's something worth noting. 80 play points. And then on top of that, and again, most of these commons or uncommons are going to be from the newest sets. A standard set, I believe, is what they normally come from. Unless you get like one of the really cool ones where you get 2, or occasionally you can even get 3 rares or 3 rares or mythics all from the same treasure chest. But again, a Renegade Freighter. So far, card-wise, we haven't gotten anything of value, but the play points really has added some value. That's a whole nother friendly league right there. Go ahead and open up one more. I don't know, 20 treasure chests seems like a decent way to run through this as I'm doing this. 40 play points, another 4 tickets. So I mean, we're really up to 12 tickets worth of value so far. Not too shabby. Curio Vendor and Spontaneous Mutation. So actually I thought for a little bit that Spontaneous Mutation, maybe this is decent because hopefully this will give us some funny stories. Apparently Curio Vendor is just a generic 2-1. Spontaneous Mutation, it has flash and is 1 blue. So before Fatal Push came out, Spontaneous Mutation I was considering. I never actually tried it, but I always wondered if it might be decent in like Bug Delver, because you didn't really have any good removal. But I was looking to run it with Grim Flayer, so like almost a Delirium Delver sort of build. And I thought maybe Spontaneous Mutation would be decent, because you tend to put a lot of cards in the graveyard, and it could slow your opponents down. If it goes into the graveyard, it just helps turn on Delirium. But true story. Alright, let's open another one here. Shivan Hellkite. Shivan Hellkite deals 1 damage to target creature or player. 7 CMC. I bet that is worth 1 penny, basically. 10th edition? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's worth nothing, and can't imagine any of these other cards are. Manic Scribe and Core Sky Climber. Alright, I don't have any stories for this one, other than that I like the 10th edition logo there. What do we got here? Ooh, Una! It's Fairy. It's the Fairy pack. So actually Una Queen of the Fae is probably the one that I actually meant, that I always think I'm going to get. This is a Shadowmoor version. I always think that I would put that into the deck. Like 1 Una would be cool in fairies, but never ends up working out that way. Never actually even pull the trigger on trying it. Felidar Cub and Narnum Cobra. So I don't play much limited, but I do try and do the pre-releases at my local shop whenever those come up, though I've missed a few of them lately. It's kind of hard to get out there with 2 youngins, but I do remember with Kaladesh playing with several Narnum Cobras in my list, and those of you who know limited a lot better than I can probably give me some insight as to whether or not that was a good choice. I didn't do particularly well. Didn't think I had the greatest deck or choice of cards anyway, but Narnum Cobra, I think I had 2 of those in that deck that I played. Alright, next pack here. Scalding Tarn, that's an okay card. I think that's like 20 something right now, so that's some value. That's the Zendikar version. Yeah, 24 ticks right now. That's not too shabby. Nature's Way. Target creature you control gains vigilance and trample until end of turn. It deals damage equal to its power. Target creature you don't control. Huh. If that was an instant, that might be a pretty decent card, but as it is, probably not going to be worth anything. And Unnatural Endurance. Yep, also not worth anything. Probably a good combat trick in limited, but yeah, that Scalding Tarn, that's given us some value. I just traded away two of my other Scalding Tarns when they were up around 35 or so, just because I figure either they're going to get reprinted in Modern Masters, or I also wasn't playing much Grixis at the time, and so didn't really need them online. I like to trade in and out of stuff to play a variety of different decks. What is this? Bruised Tarl Boorish Herder? I don't even know what set this is from. Whenever Bruised Tarl Boorish Herder enters the battlefield or attacks, target creature you control gains Double Strike or Lifelink until end of turn. Partner. This looks like it must be from some sort of dual-headed giant thing, or double-headed giant. Yeah, not quite sure what that is. We have the same set for Timna the Weaver. Bruise. Maybe this is like, yeah, here it is. Oh, okay, so it must have been from Commander 2016. It's only available, looks like maybe from Commander and Treasure Chests. Yeah, it's worth like 30 cents. Timna the Weaver, again from Commander 2016. Worth like 17 cents, and a Spreading Flames. Don't know how, I wonder how popular Commander is online. Lifelink at the beginning of your post-combat main phase, you may pay X life, where X is the number of opponents that were dealt combat damage this turn. So you could pay X. Oh, okay, so, interesting. And Spreading Flames deals 6 damage divided as you choose among it. Oh my gosh, 7 CMC. Alright, let's go ahead and open up another one here. Unmasked. Actually, so this is one of those that's pretty good online, I'm thinking. I actually might keep this one. Unmasked is 43 tickets and 92 cents. Wow. So this is really popular in Black-Red Reanimator and Legacy. Deck that I have like mostly put together, except for the Unmasks. So, interesting. Sorry, I had to shut the door there. My son was waking up and starting to cry. We'll let mommy get that. Long Road Home. Just got some uncommons from the new sets. Tangle, Claw, Werewolf. So far we have done pretty well. We've got 10 more to go, and I know we're at least 12 plus 24, so that's what, 36 plus 40. So we're already at like 80 ticks. We've already exceeded estimated value, so we're having a pretty good run here. We got 10 more to go. Fleeting Image. Doesn't seem like that's anything 8th edition. Blister Pod. So I don't play a ton of Standard, but I did have some fun with Blister Pod and what was it? The deck where you sacrifice everything. The Aristocrats version with the black creature where you lose. I can't remember. I only played it for a little bit. I tried to play it online as well, and it was a ton of triggers. So no real value in that chest. Titan Forge. Put a charge counter on Titan Forge, remove 3 charge counters, and create a 9/9 colorless Golem token artifact. And that's from Mirrodin Besieged, I believe. Culling Drone. And 4th Bridge Prowler. Okay, nothing of value there. They're not all going to be winners. Spirit Away. That looks like it's from one of the Avacyn Restored. You enchant creature you control. Enchant creature you control enchanted creature and gets +2/2 and flying. So almost like a kind of control magic thing, but 7 CMC. Probably pretty good in limited back in the day. Maybe pretty good in limited, I guess. I don't really know how limited played out before. Although I always listen to limited resources, even though I almost never play limited outside of Cube. But also wasn't playing limited back then. Definitely wasn't listening to limited resources back then. Proclamation of Rebirth. Return up to 3 target creature cards with converted mana cost 1 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Forecast. I don't even know what forecast mechanic does. Reveal Proclamation of Rebirth from your hand. Return target creature card with converted mana cost 1 or less. Huh. Interesting. If you guys have any good stories about cards, feel free to add those in the comments as well. So I may talk about a card and note how it's probably pretty crappy, but if you have a good story, feel free to mention it in the comments. Maybe make these fun if you have, or if you enjoy this video or this type of video. Okay, we got another 20 play points. So I've almost gotten 2 friendly leagues. I really enjoy playing in the competitive leagues. The problem I have with the competitive leagues is unless you get that 3/2, you don't actually get to chain leagues very well. And since it's competitive, it's much more difficult. And so, while I do like to play in competitive leagues, because I play a lot of different decks, and because a lot of times I'm playing like with brews or quasi brews, I'm not always confident that it's something I'm ready to take into a competitive league. So I like to play a lot of friendly leagues, and so far we've almost got two friendly leagues worth of play points so far. Mobile Garrison. Orin. Oh, that Proclamation of Rebirth, by the way, was worth a ticket. Orin Reef Invoker. Battle for Zendikar. Down to 5 more. Still waiting for a Rishadan port. Oh, look at, hey, we got one of those special ones. So another 40 play points. Excuse me. A Undead Alchemist. This is probably from the original Innistrad. Sometimes I get these logos a little mixed up. If a zombie you control would deal combat damage to a player, instead that player puts that many cards from top of his or her library into her graveyard. Whenever a creature card is put into an opponent's graveyard from his or her library. So this is like a creature that attacks and causes milling. I bet that was pretty decent in limited. I mean, it seems like it would be somewhat decent. And then Veteran Cathar. But sorry, so this was one of those... the Undead Alchemist, because it's not from a standard legal set, we know that this is one of those special slots where you got a bonus rare. So we had a play point, got a bonus rare, and then one uncommon. So you technically could get 3 like rare slots, and sometimes they're the curated rares, which would be like the Unmask or a Scalding Tarn. Sometimes you can just catch the Scalding Tarn randomly as well. It doesn't have to be from a curated slot. 10 play points. We're almost up to 3 leagues worth of play points, which honestly, I'm pretty happy with that. Sky Scour. Alright, nothing there. And then down to the last couple. Are we going to get a Rishdon port? Oh, we're getting all these tiny play points, 10 play points. I think you can actually get something like 1,000 play points is even like a possibility. Obviously, I've not gotten that, but I would be more than happy to. Gift of Tusks and Hulking Devil. Alright, 2 more. We're going to save the last one towards the next 20. Goliath Sphinx. World Wake. It's a big flyer. Doesn't really have any protection or anything there. I don't think that's... I guess it's probably a good closer in Limited in those long matches, but I think World Wake, or like the Zendikar Limited, I believe I heard was blistering fast, so I doubt it was even good back then. Unless there was a way to set up a good control deck. Alright, here's our last one. Hopefully we'll end this with a little bit of a high note. 15 play points. Look at that. They don't all end in zeros. Alright, and then Dawn Griff and a Searing Light. What do we got? Destroy target attacking or blocking creature with power 2 or less. That's why it's only 1 CMC. Interesting. Okay, so we've opened them all. The last one had the Rishadan port, unfortunately. Rishadan port's worth like 170 ticks right now. It's kind of sad that we didn't get it here. I'm going to quick sort by the more expensive items that we got. I'm going to bring this over. So here is the collection. Here is the value that we got in our treasure chests. Clearly, as you can see as I scroll down here, lots of stuff worth not a whole lot, but you know, you do get the chance to open something like a Scalding Tarn on Unmask, or we think we had, let's pull the calculator back up. We had 80 plus 40 plus 20 plus 40 plus 10 plus 10 plus 15. So 21 ticks. Again, our target was 52 plus 24 plus 43. And then we'll say maybe plus 1. Anyway, we're probably around 90. If we were to go trade all that in towards event tickets, we would probably get somewhere in the 70 to 80 range. So definitely, in this case, we broke ahead, which is pretty good. Pretty excited about that. Again, that's, you know, at least or close to like 10 more events if I wanted to fire in those, and that doesn't consider the fact that you're earning play points per match win in the friendly leagues. And so I'm pretty excited that I opened these. Again, I may not get rid of all of them. Probably going to unload the Scalding Tarn in case it gets reprinted in Modern Masters. Unmask, I can't imagine that's going to get reprinted in Modern Masters. May hold on to it for Black Red Reanimator, but I need 4 of them, so may just turn it in and maybe get some cards that I need to finish up another deck or something. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments if you did or didn't. As it is, I'm going to plan on doing another one of these next time I get up to 20. I won't have the time to play as many leagues, so I'm not certain I'll get to it quite as quickly as I'd like to. Usually only have time to do, one league a week or so when I'm working, but since I was off all week, was able to get quite a few more in and thought this would be fun. Hopefully you enjoyed it.